Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. This one's probably going to be a bit longer than the rest of them just because there's quite a lot involved in it. So in our case, what we're going to do is make the character walk around the map. When the character sees you, then they will start to chase you. So there's quite a lot of different things going on in this video, and we're going to start with our behavior tree. So currently we already have the chase sequence sorted. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the sequence here and I'm going to rename it to chase just so we don't get confused. And then I'm going to come out from my selector and I'm going to add another sequence and I'm just going to call this one roam around. So we kind of want a similar thing to what we have before. So we want to get random location, move to said random location, maybe wait a few seconds, and that's all we really need to do in terms of the tasks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new task, blueprint base, and I'm going to call it BT task get random location. And then in here we're going to event receive execute AI, and then out of the controlled pawn we're going to get actor location. So the reason why is because control pawn is our character, so we're just coming out from there. We want to get the character's location and we want to get a random point in reachable radius. So we can make a massive radius, it doesn't really matter too much. We don't want it too small, we want it to be quite large so the player's got a lot of freedom of where to walk to. Obviously this is confined to their nav mesh. So from here we can come out from a random location and we want to set blackboard value as vector. So we've done this before, we're just going to connect that straight to there. We're going to add a finish execute on the end, take that as a success. And then we want to right click this key, promote it to a variable and give it a name. So we're going to call it, in this case, get random location. Okay, I'm just going to compile that and then we can go back onto our behavior tree and then we can go onto our blackboard. So we've done this before, we can add a new key and it's going to be a vector key. So we can call it random location. And then we can go back onto the behavior tree now and apply that. So we can get our task. So it was get random location. And one thing that I forgot to do is just make sure that that blackboard key is a public variable. So now if we compile that and go back onto our behavior tree, we'll be able to set the blackboard onto there. So we're just going to set the blackboard location to random location. And then we're going to move to set random location. So we just need to remember to change it to random location in there. And then we'll just do what we did before and we'll just wait. Let's make it like 2 seconds. I think that should be fine. Okay, so the way the blackboards work, as you will already know, is that it goes up to down and then left to right. So what it will do first, it will go from the root to the selector and it will do this first. And if it fails for whatever reason, it will go and do the next one, which is the chase sequence. And if that fails, it will do the wait. So what we want to do is we need to force it to fail if it hasn't found the player's location. So we're going to do that with decorators again. In order to do that, we're going to go over to our blue pink character, our zombie. We're going to go onto the viewport and we're going to add a component called pawn sensing. So click on that and you'll notice loads of little lines come on your screen. What we want to change, the only thing we're really looking at the moment, is the vision angle. You can also do you can also do hearing and sensing as well, but for now we're just going to do the peripheral vision. And I'm just going to make it maybe a little bit smaller just to give the player a bit more of a chance. Let's try 70 and then compile that. So similar to what we did before, we're going to click on the pawn sensing and there is a task on here that says on see pawn. So we're just going to click on that. Oh, before we do that, we need to make the blackboard variable ready. So we'll go over to our blackboard, we'll add a new key, and it will be a bool, and we will call it has seen player. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that because we're going to need it to make the literal name. I'm going to go back onto our character, And then from there, I'm going to get AI controller, self, a blackboard, set value as bool, take that as a yeah, and then we can come off from a key name and make literal name. And I'm just going to paste what we inputted in our blackboard in there. There is something else that we need to do as well. So I'm just going to add a sequence node in here, which allows the running of multiple events off the same event start. So I am going to come out from then1 and I'm going to add something called a retriggerable delay. If you haven't seen a retriggerable delay before, they're fascinating. I love them so much. So I'm just going to put it as 2 seconds for now. I'm going to put it as 1 second for now. And I'm just going to copy and paste this down here. Oops. And instead of the bool value being true, it's going to be false. Okay, so essentially what this is doing is if a zombie sees the player character, it sets off a retriggerable delay. So if this is not re-triggered within 1 second, then it carries on with the event and it turns the value as false. Okay, so it's a really cool tool. I think 1 second might be a little too short, so I might put it to 2 seconds for now. So I'm going to compile that. And then we can go back onto our behavior tree. And then we can add those decorators in. So I'm going to right click on roam around and I'm going to add a decorator, and it's going to be a blackboard decorator. And we're going to use the blackboard key as has seen player. And if it hasn't seen the player, so you need to make sure that is not set. If it hasn't seen the player, it's going to run this event. And then we'll add a decorator onto here as well. Blackboard. We want has seen player, and if it is set, yes. One thing that we also need to add, in fact I'll show you it before we add it. I'll show you what's wrong with it. So for now, if I save that and then we can press play. So the player currently can't see me. So in fact, you know what, I will get the behavior tree up so you can see that at the same time. I think that's probably the best call there. So the player currently can't see me, so you can see that it's doing the first condition there. So if I get in the player's peripheral vision, you'll notice that unless I do it at a specific time, the player does not notice me. So the player has noticed... Wait, has she noticed me? No, she hasn't noticed me. But she has now because I've gotten in her peripheral vision. But while she's roaming, so she's roaming currently and she hasn't seen me, I can only get in her way at a certain point for her to chase me. I'm not actually being able to show you yet if it would like to very much. There we are. So I just stood in her way there, yet she didn't notice me. And the reason why is because it's not aborting that task. It wants to finish the task before it can do anything. So in order to change that, we're just going to go back onto our blackboard and we're going to click this condition here, and we're going to set the observer aborts to self. This means that if the player has seen me, let's say whilst it's moving in a certain location, then it will automatically switch to this one, which will make the gameplay a lot smoother and a lot more realistic. I'm just going to set that there for now, just so you can see it again. So the player can't see me currently. Okay, now she has seen me. I might shorten that wait because that wait seems to be causing some issues now. But let's just change that now to 1. Okay, so she's now seen me. And she's following me. So if I run around this corner and get out of her vision for 2 seconds, she should go back to roaming. There we are. So you can see that on behavior tree she's gone back to roaming. But now she's seen me again. So she's chasing me. And now she's in. Now I'm in her space, so the decorators that we made in the last tutorial are currently taking effect there as well. So everything is all working perfectly, and that's what we wanted. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I hope it was informative. So the next tutorial we're going to be looking at applying some damage.